That one. That one. That's it there. So the chat's up, the stream's up, we're all good. PlayStation RS2 series here on Race Spec Esports. This is the Sakhir round of the championship at the Sakhir International Circuit. A 5.4 kilometer or 3.3 mile 15 turn racetrack. It's one of the better Tilkodromes that has been created. Generally speaking, it's a fairly great all-round racetrack. You've got overtaking opportunities at turns 1 and turn 4 as they come immediately after DRS zones. And you've sort of got half chances at turn 8, maybe turn 11 as well, and the final two turns on the racetrack, turns 14 and 15. Once we go on board with someone, I'll show you what I mean in regards to the final two turns on the racetrack. It's actually kind of dumb. But over the past few races that we've had here on Race Spec, the racing around this track has been pretty top-notch. The Tier 1 Pacific Series race was nuts. So was a Tier 1 American Series race. That was pretty good as well. And also I did another league race with another league on streamed on Twitch, and that was bonkers as well. So generally speaking, the racing around here is pretty good. So I'm looking forward to this. But maybe we'll just see the odd boring Bahrain Grand Prix. Maybe. We'll just have to wait and see. But I believe the first car on track is Alex Pato. Then it is HMW Schender. And then there's KD 1997. Now, I've seen a couple of these guys race around here in previous races. I know Izzat is very solid around here. I know KD is very solid around here as well, in terms of quali pace and race pace as well. So definitely looking forward to how this all pans out in qualifying. Typically it's pretty close, as because Joel has elected to join us as well. So we'll have a 17 car grid, it seems, for this race at Sakhir. But I believe Alex Pato will be the first driver to try and set a flying lap around this circuit. He's on the pit straight with DRS open. He climbs into 8th gear, full throttle. He'll reach over 330 kilometers an hour, 333, hard on the brakes into turn 1. 2nd gear, hits the apex well, short shifts into 3rd. 4th gear through turn 2, 5th gear, 6th gear through turn 3. With DRS open, he climbs a slight incline towards turns 4, hard on the brakes, 3rd gear, short shifts to 4th, nice on the exit. Now through turn 5, turn 6, and then turn 7, quite a technical high-speed S section, into turn 8, where we will see a lot of drivers who aren't using ABS lock up all the way towards the apex there. We'll see a massive carpet of rubber. Same here at turns 9 and 10, arguably the most technical part of the racetrack. Very tricky brake as well, as there's quite a significant bump at the apex. Where sort of two roads transition onto each other. It makes for an awkward sort of turn. Around turn 11 into turn 12 with the auto spin curb on the inside. You touch that curb on the inside of turn 12, you are spinning around. Critical traction zone turn 13, as it's quite a long straightaway towards turn 14, which isn't the final turn on the racetrack. The final turn is that little right-hand kink you can see here. That little right-hand kink is a classified corner on the racetrack. That is turn 15 and the final turn around here at Sakhir, as Alex Pato sends the benchmark 25.6. KD beats that with a 125.2. That is quite a significant margin. As I said, KD, he's pretty quick around here. iContrast jumps up to 2nd place with a 25.4. There is an Alfa Romeo, I believe that's ACW, going into the pits. Leo is about to finish a flying lap, does a 34.7, well off the pace. Izzat jumps to the top of the standings with a 24.8. An incredibly quick time there from the Red Bull driver. Rhythms is pulled out of a lap. Wogboy on a flyer. He's heading towards turn 14. Go hard on the brakes here. Utilize as much of the circuit as you can on the outside to maximize the speed around the turn. He'll cross the line to set to 25.2. Rather weirdly, he's wearing a Michael Schumacher helmet in a Renault. It's just a bit off-putting for me, but still, very nice helmet design there, I guess. Just a bit odd seeing it in a yellow car. Mr. Race Spec, he's not on a flying lap, he's invalidated. Wafer, I don't believe is on a flying lap. Track Formula, the Brit in the McLaren. Round turn 1, round turn 2. You could see him playing with his ERS there to try and minimize wheel spin. Quite a nice little trick there that he used. Because I have to say, by driving through turns 2 and 3, when you apply throttle, the car becomes incredibly unsettled through that section. It's just the car becomes skittish almost. It wants to try and spin you out into a wall. So it's quite a nice technique there. Because then you don't get the incredible acceleration from the hybrid power. Try and spin you offline into a barrier. But it does mean extra work for you as a driver. You have to remember to switch it back up into hot lap mode once you get through turns 2 and 3. He's making his way around turn 11 now. Then through turn 12. There's a Renault in front, I believe. It's BP. There we go. Gets around into the third sector. Tricky turn 13. It's a very awkward apex because the tightness of the corner changes halfway through. It sort of becomes tighter on the exit. You have to be a bit mindful of that. Track Formula goes 4 fastest with a 25.3. Because yeah, every time I go through turn 13, I always feel as if I go in a little bit too hot into there. And because of that, the car feels like it's understeering, so I sort of have to compensate halfway through. Not sure if any of the other drivers would feel the same way. It's just something that I've noticed in my time racing these cars around here. Around turn 11 comes Plebs. Very fast uphill section with the auto spin curb on the inside of turn 12. Because yeah, that you have to sort of turn in a bit early because sort of for the corner it sort of turns in a little bit, then it straightens out, then you've got the actual corner itself. I'll go on board the other Haas just to see. So yeah, he'll come up here. It's sort of, you start going for the corner here, then it straightens up a little bit, and then you go for the corner again. It's a very unique sort of piece of tarmac, that. And I'm not particularly good at it. I absolutely suck around here at Bahrain, generally. I don't have very good races around here. But I do enjoy this place. It just generates some pretty damn good racing. Shender on the flyer. Making his way around turn 11. Climbs up the hill, low on fuel there. You can see the flashing icon. Comes around turn 12. There's a car on the inside. It's his teammate. Knocking over some of the Rolex sponsorship. Mustn't be a big fan of the Rolex watches. Maybe has Richard Mille or something along those lines. Maybe. Of course, he's in a McLaren sponsored by Richard Mille. Of course, no wonder. Crossing the line, Shender goes second quickest with a 24.9. KD on a flying lap. Said this man was pretty quick around here. I'm good friends with him. He's mentioned how much he likes this. Have a look at the first sector time. Comes around turn 4. Sector 1 says he's up by 0.02 of a second and apparently purple to the first sector. Now coming through the second sector, this is where time is gained or lost. Quite a technical sector, a lot of corners that you have to deal with. Up and over the crest into turn 9, then turn 10, hard on the brakes, locking up. Third gear, and he actually rotates the car pretty well in third. I'm quite surprised by that. Typically I drop it down to second in order to find that extra rotation. Round turn 11, missed the apex a little bit, but it gets a fine exit. Up the hill towards turn 12, avoiding the inside curb, Now into 13, turns in hard. He's up by a hundredth of a second, so he hasn't improved a lot in the second sector. In fact, he's lost time in the second sector. Around the final 2 turns on the racetrack, turns 14 and 15. It's a straight dash to the line. DRS open, what can KD do? It's a 25.159. He does improve, but he stays third fastest. Sender pulling out of a lap, Kush on a flyer. Our current pole sitter with 8 minutes remaining with a 1:24.842. Currently just under a tenth of a second in front of Shender. He's on the back straightaway. DRS wide open. It will close here. Hard on the brakes. 4th gear. 5th gear up the hill. 6th gear. 7th gear flat around turn 12. Uses the curb on the outside of 12 to open up 13. And he's up by 300ths. Now he just needs to nail this final sector. This is a major corner in the final sector. Turn 14. Now's the apex. Gets on the throttle early. It's a pretty good run. DRS open up to the line. What does he do? He does improve. A 1:24.622. A tremendous improvement in the final sector. He's now got a 3/10 margin to the McLaren in P2. Wogboy, does he have anything in response? He does. A 25 flat. He goes third. Contrast, he's on an in-lap from the looks of things. Miku was on a... Oh, well, both of these guys have invalidated, both Miku and Rhythms. Alex, I believe, has jumped up to 5th. 1 minute 1 minute 25.315. Seems that Cos Joel, making his way round the 3rd sector, has number 77 on his car. It's quite an unusual thing to see. It's what happens when you join in midway through the session. Just get sort of put into the real life Formula 1 car rather than the car with your number on it. He goes 14th fastest with a 25.8. ACW at the bottom of the leaderboard, 1 minute 26.2 on a set of mediums. Only driver, I believe, who has set a time on the medium compound. Demonstrating that a lot of these guys are committed to a softer hard strategy. In races past, it's the one I've seen most use for the drivers inside the top 10. Drivers outside of it tend to go for the medium to hard strategy because the soft compound burns up fairly quickly around here, but the hard tyre is quite good. It can last a long time. There's a car off at turn 12. It's either Alex or Plevs. It must have been Alex. He had an off at turn 12. He's on the track. I believe Leo is on an in-lap. Double check here. He is. Same with Alex, he's on an in-lap. So is BP. Gaming Wafer? No, he's on an in-lap. Plevs is on a flying lap. He's up by almost half a second at the end of the second sector. DRS open, up to the line. He sets a 1:25.1, jumps up to 5th. Nice recovery there. Jumps up into the top 5. So this is it. Drivers will more or less be preparing themselves for their final flying laps in this qualifying session. Got 2 drivers on out laps. Got 2 drivers on in laps. The first on and out lap will be Contrast. His teammate Rhythms, currently P12 at the moment, just outside the top 10. That's not a tremendous deficit. You've lost a fair amount of track position being in P12, but for every driver outside the top 10, they get that free choice of tyre, which could prove to pay massive dividends in this race. Contrast slowing down, letting the timer run down a bit more, try and get some slightly better track position, though by doing this his tyres will be cooling down quite a bit, so he does need to be a bit careful. He's got it ready in 3rd gear, applies some throttle around the final 2 turns, and he sets off with 3.5 minutes to go on potentially his final flying lap. Heading down towards turn 1 at 333 kilometers an hour, he slams on the brake, 2nd gear, and goes 3rd, 4th gear, 5th gear through turn 3, 6th gear, DRS open. He'll come up to turn 4, gently on the brakes, making sure he uses all of the track that's available to him. Sector 1 says, up by 0.5 of a second. Around the high speed S's of turns 5, 6 and 7, into the hairpin of turn 8. 1st gear, short shifts to 2nd, 3rd gear, 4th gear, a bit slidey on the exit, but it appears he hasn't lost too much speed. Around turn 9, then turn 10, 1st gear, 2nd gear, 3rd gear, 4th gear, wheel spin, just a little bit of wheel spin, not a lot. Now into turn 11, goes back down through the gears, 4th gear, then climbs up the hill, flat chat in 7th gear, round turn 12. Sector 2 says he's up by 1/10.5. With that sort of pace, he could potentially crack in. Needs to nail this final sector, particularly these final 2 bends. Turns 14 and 15, he chucks it in, 3rd gear, half throttle, then full throttle on the exit. He climbs up through the gears once again, DRS open, up to the line, sets a 1:25.147. He does indeed jump up into the top 5. Now, the top 4 drivers are on outlaps as I speak. However, the man in 7th is on a fly-up. KD is currently up by 1/10 of a second in the 1st sector. What does Sector 2 say? Only up by 5 thousandths of a second. So he needs to find time in this 3rd sector. See if he can nail this here. Low on fuel. I think this will be his only run. Round the final corner in 4th gear rather than 3rd gear from contrast. DRS open, up to the line. He doesn't improve. Stays P7. But look how close it is between 7th up to pretty much P3. It's incredibly close. About 0.2 of a second separating those guys. A very small margin as Sender invalidates. I wonder, he's pulled out of it. So he's going to try and set another flying lap. Leo's making his way around turn 13. Is that the exit of 13? He's got a Ferrari behind. So look at the traffic in the final sector. There's plenty of it. Drivers having to negotiate all of it. Is that Kush? His final flying lap in this qualifying session at Sakhir. I wonder what our current pole sitter can do. For every other driver in the field, it's going to be quite some task in order to beat Izzat. But we'll see what they can do. But first, Izzat in the 1st sector. What does it say? There was an AlphaTauri there at the exit. He's up by 0.03 of a second. Leo, what is he doing in the 1st sector? Down by 0.02. Sender's session is done and he's deliberately crashing his car. That's nice. Wogboy is making his way round the 2nd sector, coming to the end of it now. Sector 2 says he's up by 2.5 of a second. He needs to find about another 1/10 if he wants to claim pole position here. He's done a 25 flat as his current personal best. He needs to beat a 24.6. What is the Renault going to do when it crosses the line? DRS open. It's a 24.8. He goes 2nd fastest. Not enough to take pole position. Leo, he's invalidated. Oh dear, he was up by 0.2 of a second there. He was up by 0.2 and he invalidated at turn 13. Izzat improves to do a 1:24.598. Cements himself at the top of the standings unless somebody has something in response. Plebs goes 3rd fastest with a 1:24.871, missing out on P2 by 0.08 thousandths of a second. And I do believe, if I am not mistaken, That is qualifying over. But what a tussle here at the top of the standings. Less than a tenth of a second separating P2 to P5. That is close. That is properly close. This is a thing that I have seen in previous races here at Sakhir. Very close qualifying. But there is one man who stands head and shoulders above the rest, and that's Isaac Kush. Just over 2.5 tenths in front of Wogboy. He sits pretty on pole position. Plebs in P3, a fine recovery, pulls that lap time right at the end of the session. Leo in 4th, Shenda in 5th, I Contrast in 6th, KD 7th, Joel 8th, Pato in 9th, and Trap Formula rounds out the top 10. 7 3/4 tenths of a second separating the top 10. Very close indeed. We'll go through the rest of the order when we line up on the grid and we get to see what these drivers outside the top 10 decide to do in regards to strategy. It should be very fascinating indeed. But a pretty nice qualifying session that was. A lot of competition. Fantastic to watch. Now, in regards to strategy, I hazard a guess, an educated guess, that it's not going to be raining. I guess. I think in my entire time doing league racing here, I have never seen it rain at Bahrain. Never. So, I think the strategy for the guys inside the top 10 will be a softer hard strategy, unless someone wants to take a gamble with a 2-stop, but you need a bit of luck in order to make that work. And for the drivers outside the top 10, I would think a medium to hard strategy would probably be the way to go. By starting on either the mediums or the softs, it gives you a bit of flexibility if you get damage early on or if there's an early safety car. What it allows you to do is to keep your most durable tyre in your back pocket in case something goes wrong or an opportunity arises. The hard tyre can do roughly, and I did this off experience in Pacific T3, it can do about 23 to 24 laps, no trouble. And the pace doesn't really deteriorate either, because everyone else is on fairly worn tyres. So those hard compound tyres can go the distance. If anyone starts on the hards, you're taking a big gamble, but hey, gambles can work out in your favour. You just never know. So we'll have a look at what everyone's up to. Interesting. This is very interesting, actually. So, the drivers outside the top 10. First of which is BPV8. Starting in P11, he's on the medium compound tyre. Same with the driver alongside him, Mikulitsi. He's starting on the mediums. Same with Rage in P13. Then, the next 4 drivers, completely different story. Rhythms on the hard compound. Same with Gaming Wafer. They're in P14 and P15. Respectively. Championship leader ACW, starting from P16, is on hards. He's taking a gamble here. He's a long way behind where he probably should be, but he's gambling by running long initially. It will pay massive dividends towards the end. Then there's the Finn, Jompalainen, starting at the back of the field in 17th place. He's on the hard compound as well. So 4 drivers taking a gamble here, starting on the hards. Then the 3 drivers in front of that starting on the mediums. Then the top 10, all of them starting on the soft compound tyre. So it should be a very, very interesting race in regards to strategy at the very least. But we should get some pretty good racing in between. The top 10 should pull away. They're on the soft compound tyre, but the softs deteriorate fairly fast, so the medium runners will start to catch up. The hard runners, they're going to be in sort of no man's land compared to the softs and the mediums. But, as I said, if luck falls in their favour, it may be massive. And it may prove to be the best strategy in the end. So, and by starting on the hards, you can do a hard medium, or you can stretch the hard compound and put on a set of softs right at the end. So you do have a bit of flexibility as well. Strategy is going to play a big part in this. Luck is going to play a big part in this, and hopefully some good racing is going to play a big part in this as well, but we'll just have to wait and see. We'll be waiting on Jon Pelena to line up into his respective grid slot. He's ready to go. 17 cars on the grid. We're ready to race. We have 5 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go here at Sakhir. And that's a fantastic conversion from Izzat. He will lead the field into turn 1. The Renault off the racetrack there in the background. He gets it back on. But through turn 1 we go. Into turn 2. Us running a little bit wide. That might be a warning, actually, knowing how brutal the game is. Plevs is on the attack here, trying to go down the inside of Leo. Oh, it's tight, it's tight, it's tight. But they get it sorted. Now into turn 5. Got some stuff going on back here. Something's happened to Joel and BP. They have collected each other at turn 4. As a result, they have fallen to the back of the field. That's not very great for those two drivers, losing a lot of time, but luckily they don't have wing damage. But they have lost a tremendous amount of time. Shenda! Oh, as Shenda and Plebs come together. And here comes KD in the racing point. Down the inside into turn 11. Gets the job done. Plebs not mucking around too much with those two drivers. He falls down to P6. He's got Trap Formula and Eye Contrast behind. Rage is up into 9th place on the medium compound. He's made up a few places off the start. 4, in fact. The most out of any driver in the field. Great start there from the Swede. Down the inside goes Eye Contrast into turn 14. He's into P7 now, coming towards the end of the lap. Izzat Kush is still leading. He's got a 1 second margin. Down the inside comes Trap Formula. He will send it here into turn 1. He has the inside line. He keeps it there. They're still side by side. Round turn 2. Keep an eye on that other McLaren of Shenda. He's looking a bit feisty. KD trying to defend from Shenda as the McLaren darts past on the inside. They make contact. Pledge tries to follow through. Can't do it. Stays in P6 at the end of the first sector, and Rhythms, the first driver to gather a penalty. 3 seconds worth. He's down in 11th and off the circuit. The McLaren of Shenda. This will allow KD to try and have a go around the outside. Can't get it done though. The American will slot back in behind the McLaren. Great battle here in the midfield at the moment. Very nice to watch. But yes, the soft runners currently 1st to 9th. Rage is 1.1 seconds behind Alex Parto. So the soft tyre demonstrating they're still the best tyre at the moment, but we're only 2 laps in. And these tyres are going to start deteriorating fast. How fast? About this lap or the next one, I imagine. Those soft tyres will start to not feel so good. Oh, some hard defending there from Trap Formula. Trying to hang on to P8. Does so. Quite aggressive style. Alex is not giving up, yo. Oh, here we go. He'll get DRS. He's got a tremendous run out of turn 3. And as a result, down the inside of turn 4, he gets it done. Though Trap Formula might get a switch back here. Oh, the Italian sideways. Oh. Oh, dear. Well, that wasn't very nice. And off the circuit goes Trap Formula, spinning round. Both McLarens are off. Shenda's off as well, at the same corner, at the exit of turn 7, heading into turn 8. But you saw there between Trap Formula and Alex Parto, as Shenda has been disqualified for driving the wrong way. That is our first retirement. He will not be scoring any points. And we saw there with Trap, just Alex's car just drove right over the top of him. They must have been desynced. They had to have been. That was a fascinating collision. Oh, it's Trap. Oh, he loses it. He catches it. as Trap Formula has left the session, hopefully he'll be able to rejoin. Leo closing in on Wogboy, utilising the power of DRS. It's coming around turn 2 and then turn 3. He really cut turn 2 there. That might have been a warning. But you can see out in front is that Kush just commanding this race, pulling away a 1.9 second margin. These two fighting it out for the final 2 podium spots. Then it's a bit of a margin to KD, 2.9 seconds in fact. These guys still trying to scrap it out for position. To think the 2 McLarens were in this battle pack as well. They're now at the back of the field. One of them retired, or disqualified I should say. The other in 16th place, 4.4 seconds behind the next car. It's quite an interesting incident. I would love to see the driver's point of view, what Trap saw and what Alex saw in that, because that was scary. Round turn 13. See here, players half a second behind, using overtake as well. He has a bit more than KD in front. He will round turn 14, and perhaps he will think about attacking here. I reckon he's close enough to make this work. DRS open. Sitting in the slipstream. He is closing and closing and closing and closing. Will he pull to the inside? He does. Late on the brakes, both drivers giving each other enough room. A bit of a tag there, a bit of a tag there. And KD stays out in front. He keeps 4th place for now. But he closes in again, players. And this time he will get the job done with relative ease. For the braking zone, in fact. But KD gets the switchback. They might go through side by side. No, KD rather wisely just letting players have the position for now. It's not very wise going side by side through there. And in fact, there was a head steward warning about going side by side through there. It's not recommended at all, as it often does lead to incidents. Now, heading down the back straightaway towards turn 11. I just noticed on the Ferrari something I never noticed before. On the airbox, you've got these sort of winglets, and on the winglets it says Forza Alex. I wonder who that's to. Sort of stretching my mind here. Pretty sure that said Forza Alex. I had never ever noticed that before. That was very strange. Yeah, on the little winglets near the airbox. Oh man! Oh, and Alex goes into the back of the Ferrari, putting him into a bit of a half spin. Luckily, he was able to catch it. That might be because yeah, there's definitely something on that little winglet, and I'm pretty sure that says Forza Alex. I'll look at the showroom just after the race, and I'll have another look. I wonder what that's all about. Meanwhile, not too many battles going on. These guys are more or less sort of giving each other a bit of trouble, but not really battling each other just yet. Rhythm's currently the best placed hard runner in 9th. Rage 1.7 seconds in front. Best placed medium runner P8. Miku, a big lift off there. You can see he just made it onto the curve on the outside, so if he kept that full throttle, he may have ended up going really, really wide there. As Leo, I reckon he's going for an attack here, and is. A fairly simple overtake. Nothing flashy, but it gets the job done. Into second now. 2.9 seconds behind is that Kush. Plevs trying to pull away from KD. Currently unsuccessful. keeping this battle very much alive. I contrast in P8, sideways Alex Parto in 7th. Come up and over the crest towards turn 9. Hard on the brakes. You can see already there's plenty of rubber being laid out there through turn 10. You could also see there Katie was quite sideways at the exit. The gap has opened up to 9/10. Perhaps KD has burnt through his tyres too quickly. Everyone else around him catching up or pulling away. So right now he's almost 1 second outside of, or behind Plevs I should say. He's outside of DRS. He is using ERS to try and close back within, but he is unsuccessful, I do believe. So he's going to be quite vulnerable to contrast as KD pulls the pin. Rather wisely pulls the pin. I think this is a smart pit stop, and Wogboy has done the same. Wogboy is going on to hard tyres, going to the end. Same with KD. Set of hard compound tyres, and away he goes. Now these two will be planning to get a little bit of an undercut on their rivals, so long as they set a pretty decent outlap, or first outlap on these hard tyres. ACW down the inside of Miku here. Miku's not giving up though. The Finn is being stubborn. They're going through side by side. Miku just letting ACW by. Not putting up too much of a fight there in the end. So the Finn drops down to 9th. ACW now in 8th. His next target is Rhythms. As Rhythms, that was... You missed turn 9 and turn 8, dearie me. He missed both apexes there, lost a bit of time. Make sure you, first of all, try and stay on the black stuff, but also try and hit your apexes. Don't want to be running too wide and losing too much time. Gaming Wafer on the back of Jompalainen, heading up the hill, round turn 12. Now Wafer should probably be patient, wait till the DRS zone, and then try and pass, as Izzat and Leo are in for their first and perhaps only pit stop. Alex stays out. Hard tyres for Izzat. Can't see what everyone else is going on to. iContrast is on hards. Same with Leo. Same with Plevs. All of them on hards. Round the outside, Wafer is trying. Unsuccessful though. And there's the sort of unofficial race leader just in behind Izzat Kush. Only 3.5 seconds behind as Wafer looking around the long way at turn 4. He has to be brave. Tries to get a switch back here. Can't get it done. Jompalainen making that Mercedes-Benz very wide indeed. You can see here Wafer looking left and right, trying to get past. It appears the Williams has better speed, but the width of the Mercedes-Benz is too much. Wafer just can't seem to find the way by. Round turn 10. There's Izzat closing in rapidly, as you do on fresh tyres. Wafer closing in. Not close enough to attack though. Through turn 11. Up the hill again. There's Izzat. Round turn 12. Then turn 13. Jompalainen missing the apex there. Will allow Wafer to close in a little bit more. You see here the Finn running even on fuel. That's what the yellow icon means, as Alex Parto is in the pits. Using a lot of overtake here. The Wafer, he closes and closes and closes, but not close enough. So, Jompalainen holding the Williams at bay, though he might be vulnerable here. Does Wafer go for it? Down the inside. They make contact maybe. They're side by side. Heading into turn 5. Jompalainen on the outside. He can't hold it there. Slots down to 7th. Oh, but Wafer, what a mistake. He runs wide. The Finn can't capitalise on it though. But Izzat now incredibly close. He will see to it that he gets past both of these drivers incredibly quickly. He doesn't want to be hampered too much by these two. Izzat pulling alongside the Mercedes down the inside into P7. His next target is the Williams of the gaming Wafer. Now into the third sector. Wafer locking up, missing another apex. This will make Izzat's job 10 times easier. There's going to be very little the Williams can do. Around the final two bends, locking up the pair of them. DRS is going to open, using overtake, and no fight whatsoever. Red Bull goes flying past well before the braking zone into P6. Meanwhile, two Ferrari engine cars having a scrap, actually three of them. And there's a Renault just in behind. ACW Rhythms, Miku Litsi, and BPV8 who gets past. And does so successfully. And Joel, I believe, is that Joel? It is, making a mistake at the final turn. And he's going to be retiring from the race, no doubt. And does so. Fair enough, I suppose, even though you still have more than half the race to go. You never know, a safety car might come out and then everything's wide open once again. Now, has Trap Formula returned to the session? No, he hasn't. Yeah. Not going to be a great day for the McLaren team. Not going to be a great day at all. Even though that McLaren's now in the points in 15th. These quadrant of cars, ACW, Rhythms, BPV8, who's going in, pulls it up rather nicely. See the Renault crew come out, tyres ready. It's a set of mediums. Interesting strategy call here from BP, a risky one, but it may pay off. Set of medium compound tyres. And away he goes. Now, Leo Jompalainen coming around turn 8 and on the back of the gaming Wafer. So Leo has to try and negotiate this as well. See, Izzat got past with relative ease as Wogboy gets past the Finn into P8. Mercedes doesn't fight back as you'd expect. Up the hill, turn 12 once again. Locking up gaming Wafer. Now the gap between these two, 3/10. All that Leo needs to do, sticking behind, use some of that overtake and just power past. It shouldn't be too difficult. And I don't think Wafer will put up too much of a fight. He understands that he's not in this battle. You can see they're conserving ERS. That's what the flashing red light means. Well, that's on. He is conserving ERS. He's not fighting. Round turn 4. Wogboy now has the task to get past the Williams into turn 8. Can't quite get it done there. Hopping over the hill. Round turn 10. DRS open, using overtake. He closes in. Not enough, because Wafer also has DRS that he can use to defend from Wogboy, who understeers and misses the apex at turn 11, which opens the gap because of the added mechanical grip of the fresher hard tyres of Wogboy's car. He closes back within. Wafer runs wide. This gives Wogboy a fairly nice opportunity to try and get past as Rage is in the pits, off the medium compound, probably going on to the hards. And here we go. It shouldn't be too much of a fight. Here we go. Slingshots by. Runs out of ERS. Into the braking zone. They're side by side. Jompelainen. Oh, he was very deep under brakes. I was in half a mind that he might run up the rear of the Williams, but he didn't. Rage comes out in 14th place, just behind BP on those fresh medium compound tyres. So we've got a few scraps going on. ACW currently leading the way with Rhythms in second, Mikulitsi in third. Izzat is in fourth. So if we remain under green flag conditions all the way to the end of the race, it is looking like a straightforward victory for Izzat, though we have still got more than half the race to go, so anything can happen still. We may see a safety car or a virtual safety car that will change the entire complexity of this race. So at the moment, it's not very complex. It's looking like Izzat is going to take the W. Jompelainen and the Gaming Wafer still close together, still scrapping it out for position. There's Plebs and P9. He's got KD and I contrast for company as BP on those fresh mediums setting fastest laps. KD now on the back of Plebs, closing in. He won't be close enough to attack. Locking up. You can see in front Wafer and the Finn Jompelainen battling it out. The Finn losing time. Williams making a mistake. Oh, they almost made contact there. And now it's a four-way scrap for 7th. In a matter of 3 turns. Turn 9, turn 10. Wafer now leads a train of 5 cars because there's eye contrast. Just in behind, Plebs looking to attack here. Looking down the inside. It's a risky move. But the Finn doesn't fight it. Oh, but he gets the switchback. Doesn't get the nose in front though. Or nose alongside, I should say. Now KD trying to find a way past. Eye contrast as well. Right on board. Heading towards turn 14. As Miku is in the pits. Probably for a set of hard tyres to go to the end. And the 2 hard runners. Oh, Rhythms is... Sorry, no. Gaming Wafer is in. Gaming Wafer in the pits. KD looking down the inside. He'll go deep on the brakes here. Oh, but runs wide. And as a result, High Contrast will get through as well. In a matter of 1 turn, Jompelainen has lost 2 positions. Granted, it's not really through any fault of his own. KD sort of missed all the apexes there at turn 1. Ran wide, and as a result, Contrast was able to follow KD. This is our top 3. Rhythms, ACW and Izzat Kush. First, second and third. All within a second of each other. The 2 in front have to make another pit stop. They are praying for a safety car or something along those lines. If one comes out right now, they're in with a real chance to win this. And as of right now, if it remains green from here to the checkered flag, Izzat looks fairly untouchable. Into the pits goes ACW. He blinks. He's had enough. He's in. The German Rhythm stays out, leading the way. Leo 4.7 seconds behind. He has got Wogboy for company, and the lap car of Trap Formula interfering just a little bit. Oh, as Rhythms and Izzat side by side, and the German can't hang on. He falls to second. Izzat Kush retains the lead with 13 laps to go. Well, 12 and a half, really. With this trio still scrapping it out. This should be a fascinating battle right to the end. Three very high quality drivers. And Alex is not too far behind us as well. He can get involved as well. We may see a four-way scrap here for position. There's McLaren of Trap Formula. The AI dawdling around the racetrack. Wogboy and Leo. This is a genuine scrap for second place. We also have a genuine scrap for what is going to be fourth position as well. So we got battles up and down, but one man is leading the way, commanding this race. Here comes Wogboy. Round the long way. Can't do it. Into turn 4. Wogboy can't get it done here either, as Contrast has lost a significant amount of time to KD, as Alex gets past Jompalainen. P8 goes the Italian. The Contrast has got a bit of work to do to try and catch up with the Racing Point in front, as the Gaming Wafer has a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, standing 14th. Remember, the top 15 score points, so everyone who finishes from here on out scores something. Except for, of course, Trap Formula. He is not in the session driving the car. That is his AI. Leo doing a superb job holding Wogboy at bay. 0.7 of a second. At the moment, the Renault driver has no answer. But he needs to stay in behind within that 1 second range. Apply as much pressure as he possibly can. Try and force a mistake from Leo. Rhythm still pushing out there on those hard tyres, praying for a safety car or something. Closing in is Wogboy, utilising the power of DRS. KD is doing the same, closing in on Plevs. He thought about it. He 100% thought about it. As ACW sets fastest lap on mediums. Interesting. I thought he'd go softs, but he doesn't. As Wogboy down the inside at turn 4. Leo tries to get the switch back. Can't get the traction down though. Wogboy into third. Once Rhythm pits at his second place. That's what they're battling for. Back behind BP. Jompalainen exchanging position. ACW on a charge as well. Oh! As the Williams of Rage and ACW come together at turn 7. As a result, ACW does not overtake Rage. He stays in P12. Round turn 9. Closing in. Turn 10. DRS open. Maybe ACW won't be as friendly here. Goes down the inside. Gets the job done into P11. Try and pull away from the Swede. KD only 0.4 behind Plevs. He's still there, ready and waiting to take that 5th place away from Mr. Race Spec. He doesn't quite have the resources to do it at the moment, though he is close. And Plevs knows it. Missed the apex ever so slightly at turn 1. Through turn 2. Plevs gets horrible traction. This is an opportunity. Using overtake, both cars, they are dumping everything they have. Into turn 4, KD has the inside line. They make contact. And Plevs on the outside hangs on only just. But this battling allows this man to close in, i.e. Contrast. It's now only 1 second between him and KD. It's now under a second. As they head round turn 8. Up and over the hill they go for the 20th time. Contrast has DRS again. He is back in this battle. So is Alex. He's just there. BP has to make another stop, I believe. He's done 2 medium stints. He needs to do another soft stint. What a battle this is going to turn out to be. Leo, he needs to do what Wogboy was doing to him earlier. Apply pressure, stay within that 1 second range. Utilize DRS to its maximum effect. At the moment, it seems that the Renault driver has the measure over the Haas as Rhythm finally pits. Soft compound tyres at the ready, on they go. And away goes the Ferrari. He's going to end up behind the Williams of Rage, I believe. He is. I think he will come out in front of the Haas of Mikulitsi, though. So from the looks of things and by the way that everyone's behaving, it's looking like it's going to be a green flag run to the finish. So these are the battles we have got to look out for. The battle for 4th. 4 cars in this fight. Plevs, KD, High Contrast and Alex. Plevs currently leading this train. And he has a bit of backup in his teammate. There's also a battle going on for 2nd. Wogboy and Leo. Leo is not giving up. He is now 6/10 behind his rival. Trying to keep up and still fight for that 2nd place finish. Seems that ACW is steadily closing in as well, only 5.5 seconds behind, but he really needs to nail these laps. He needs to be mega fast right here. BP, he has to make a stop, and that's a elementary mistake there. 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings, just way too wide at the entry to turn 14. As a result, he gets a penalty for track extending, quite an understandable one if I'm honest. Plev still applying, KD applying pressure. Plev's trying to take the pressure. And he's doing it pretty damn well. Still holding the Racing Point at bay, but I assume that when the lap counter hits about 3, maybe 2 laps to go, we'll really see those 50-50 moves come out, though KD has a horrible start to the 2nd sector. Plevs is starting to pull away incrementally, though KD still has DRS. He can still apply pressure. There is the Ferrari of Eye contrasting behind. Same with Alex, and BP is tossing it up there as well as they head around turn 11. BP at the moment, he's probably the quickest out of the bunch, but he needs to make another stop. Don't think he can make it to the end of the race on those, if I recall correctly. Look at pit stops. BP, yeah, mediums to mediums, and he hasn't made any other stops as he's trying to battle for position in the background, as you can see. And in he comes. Rhythm's closing in on Rage as Rhythm sets fastest lap with a 28 flat. I'm sure BP will try and go for that fastest lap as well. KD again close, but no cigar. Stays behind for now. And Leo has closed in, back behind the gearbox of Wogboy. Jompalainen now goes fastest with a 27.8. So we have a battle for fastest lap. We have a battle for 2nd. And we have a battle for 4th. And now Rhythms is on a charge. He's just overtaken Rage. Now into 9th place. Only 1.2 seconds behind our championship leader, ACW. KD right in behind Plez, looking for some sort of move. Can't get it done just yet. Misses the apex of 11, although Contrast can't capitalise on the scenario. Round 13. Hopefully this will be an absolutely mega scrap between these four. No penalties either. It's a straight up dogfight between four cars. DRS for KD. Same with Contrast, but he's dumping his overtake. Look, he's closing and closing and closing. He goes to the inside. It might be 3 wide, but KD goes deep. Turns in at the apex. They make a little bit of contact. Alex gets a shocking run because of it. Positions stay the same. But again, Contrast closes. He might go for it here. Down the inside, a big send. But KD round the outside has better traction. And he keeps the position. Alex tries to follow through but can't. Plebs is loving this. He's able to pull away just a little bit from his rival KD. Up and over the crest towards turn 9, then turn 10. Luckily for KD, he's still within DRS range. Really needs to max it in the rest of this second sector and the third to make sure he stays within DRS range. See Plez, the yellow icon, he is running low on fuel. He's running even. So it's going to be difficult for the AlphaTauri driver to use rich mix. Otherwise he will have to do a lot of saving late in the race. But the gap is 9 tenths. Keep an eye on the gap between Plebs and KD. 9 tenths. Just under 9.5. It stays there. It increases a little bit. But it stays under a second. KD will get DRS here. So he will not be vulnerable to iContrast and Alex Barto behind. 5 laps to go. Rhythm's overtaking ACW. The German now into 8th. Looking like it's going to be a solid points haul for Ferrari. Meanwhile, got this group of 4 in front. Got a battle of 2. Fighting for second place. Leo still applying pressure. Still keeping up with Wogboy. You can see he's got a fair amount of ERS compared to Wogboy, who's got 20%. So Leo has got that little bit in his back pocket. It's going to be an interesting finish between these two, especially if Leo can keep up with the Renault in front and apply maybe a late race move, utilize all of that ERS that he's saved up. It's going to be quite fascinating to watch. But we've also got this to keep an eye on as well. KD has closed back in half a second between him and Plevs, heading down towards turn number 14. In the background, Jompalainen and Gaming Wafer still scrapping it out for position. I can see the gaps there. And BPV8 is in that as well. KD not close enough. Just have a quick squiz at what's going on here. So yeah, Wafer and Jompalainen still very close together. Leo closes in again, but he is not close enough. But he's got a tremendous amount of ERS in his back pocket. Wogboy, he's got probably just enough. Who will take second place here at Sakhir? Plevs and KD. Still 4th and 5th. Half a second apart. Contrast in P6. When are they going to go? When are they going to send it? And in the background is Rhythms and ACW. You're joking. That's another spin to things. Another 2 contenders have introduced themselves to this scrap. One's on soft tyres, but with a penalty. The other is on medium tyres with none. And is our championship leader. Oh man, this has introduced a totally different dynamic to this battle now. A 6-way fight for 4th place with 3 laps to go. Round turn 4 they go. iContrast is applying pressure. He wants to get a move on. So does Alex. He knows he's vulnerable to the 2 cars behind as he's at the end of the hard train in this group. Oh, but Contrast runs wide. And Alex gets a shocking run. Can Rhythms capitalize on this? He can't. The train stays the same even with the mistake. Ooh, a bit sideways there from the German. ACW, how desperate will he be to try and make up positions? With the 3 seconds next to Rhythm's name, he's looking at 8th place right now. He needs to get past the German and try and make an assault up through the field. Oh, and Alex makes a mistake. Here we go. A window of opportunity, perhaps. Alex, though, recovers. Slots back into the train. ACW, though, down the inside on the better tyre. Alex gives him space as Leo gets past Wogboy. He's done it at turn 1 with 2 to go. Rhythms, a 5-second penalty, corner cutting and gaining a place. How did he do that on a straight? Fascinating. Oh dear, Leo's jumping. Uh-oh. The Wogboy demoted down to 3rd. Can he do anything in response? You can see Leo has got a plentiful amount of ERS to play with. KD, Contrast, scrapping. That's given Plebs a bit of an opportunity to pull away. He's outside of a second. Coming through Sector 2. Rhythms is pushing hard. He wants to get by his teammate. He wants to minimise the effect of the penalty. ACW and Alex are scrapping it out for position as well. Actually, no. They just exchanged it. Then ACW in 8th place proper. And off the circuit is a Williams. It must be the gaming wafer. He's off the racetrack. Lost a lot of time. KD needs to get within a second of Plebs here. He needs to do it now. Otherwise his fight for 4th is over. But the leader has crossed the line to begin the final lap. And Leo has pulled away from Wogboy. A master stroke in saving resources. It has paid massive dividends for the Haas driver. It looks like he can hang on to second so long as he doesn't make a mistake. And now KD's vulnerable here. He's got 2 Ferraris in his wing mirrors. They pull to the side. They go deep. And so does ACW. The Ferraris make contact through turn 2. And Contrast ends up in front. KD in the middle of it. Losing 3 positions in 3 corners. Falls down to 8th. Looking around the long way as Rhythms and Contrast, their teammates, they're scrapping. Battling through turn 5, then turn 6. Oh, they made contact! Rhythm spins! Oh, fortunately for the other drivers, they were able to avoid. But that is shocking there. The 2 teammates making contact. Oh dear, oh dear. And ACW now on the attack. Can he get a top 5 finish out of nowhere? A brilliant recovery for the Alfa Romeo driver. He has to get past this Ferrari though. Can he do it here at turn 11? He's looking to the inside. Contrast squeezes him through turn 11. He tries to get the switchback. Does a Ferrari up the hill. Round turn 12. They make contact. Round turn 12 they go as Izzat Kush crosses the line. Very sorry, Izzat. I want to keep my eyes on this. Round turn 13. I think ACW is going to hang on to this. Leo crosses the line in second. Wogboy in third. But what a scrap that has been. KD and Alex. 2 corners left. They're fighting for everything here. They're going up to the straight. Side by side. KD will get him just. Only just hangs on to 7th place. What a scrap here. In the middle of the top 10. As Rhythms, a 5-second penalty demotes him down to 12th. After a final lap incident. But well done, this man. Very sorry I didn't give you enough camera time there at the end. I had a battle that I had to watch. But a commanding, almost perfect, flawless drive from Isaac Kush, taking a well-deserved victory at Sakhir. Obviously, driver of the day, ACW. I believe he started 16th, if I remember, or 14th or something like that. It was well towards the back of the field. But well done, is a superb drive. Same with Leo. That's energy conservation at the end of the race paid massive dividends for him. Secured a fine second place. Wogboy put up a scrap. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite enough, but he gets a fine third place finish. But there we go, another superb race at Sakhir International Circuit. So, the unofficial results. Izzat wins, Leo second, Wogboy in third. Plebs hangs on to a fine fourth place finish, and there we go. I did think it was 16th. 16th to 5th for ACW, 11 positions gained. A fine recovery indeed. I contrast finishes in P6, KD in 7th, Alex in 8th, Rage in 9th, making up 4 positions, and Miku rounds out the top 10. BP in 11th with fastest lap, Jompalainen in 12th, Rhythms down in 13th, what his race could have been without the contact at the end. And the Gaming Wafer in 14th place, our final finisher. Trap Formula, he let his AI do the work, unfortunately. He didn't rejoin the session. Joel crashing out, retiring in the pit lane rather, and Shenda being disqualified from the race for driving the wrong way. No virtual safety cars and no proper safety cars during this entire race. It was green flag racing from the lights to the flag. It was absolutely superb. But that, ladies and gentlemen, will end another week's worth of racing on Race Spec Esports. Now, I'll quickly get the calendar up for myself, but I'll just double check. Let's have a look. Okay, so I have been wrong. So in previous streams I mentioned that next week is China. It's not. It's actually the week after is China. We're having a week break, a mid-season break here at Race Spec, because it's been a flat out time at the moment. Flat out 8 weeks, particularly for me, doing 3 different championships. Actually 4 if you include tier 3, me driving in it. So it's been a lot of work. Now I just wanted to check this with the Ferrari. Yeah, it does say Forza Alex. I wonder. I'm gonna have to see what that's about. But here's the winner's car. Red Bull Racing. Is that Kush winning for Red Bull at Sakhir? One would wonder, will Max Verstappen do the same for the opening round of the 2021 Formula 1 season? Well, in a few moments we're about to find out, because although a lot of people will probably come back and watch this and probably watch a bit of RS1, there's a lot of hype, and understandably so, for the opening round of the 2020 Formula 1 season. Practice was interesting, so was qualifying. This man took pole position by 0.4 of a second over Lewis Hamilton. Is Red Bull finally in contention, or was that just a scrappy qualifying from Mercedes? Was it just a one-off from Red Bull? Or have they finally cracked it? Are they in with a shot to take victory in the opening round? Oh boy, oh boy. From the looks of things and the competitiveness of the 2021 field, it is looking like a very good season for us in the Formula 1 community. So, getting hyped up for that. It's going to be an absolute banger, hopefully. But until next time, I've been the Smeg. Thank you all so much for watching. And we won't see you next week, but we will see you the week after at the Shanghai International Circuit for the Chinese Grand Prix. Until then, good night.